Sometimes we give spooky things silly names, maybe to make them seem less scary. Sometimes, though, it just makes them even creepier. Let me tell you about Little Mannie, and you can make the call on this particular cursed object. As always, viewer discretion is advised. Little Mannie is, well, little. He's a bulbous, carved stone figure, only about 3 inches tall. If you look straight at him, he seems like a bald man with a big head, a heavy brow, large nostrils, and stubby little arms or wings sticking out from a legless body. But turn him sideways, and you'll see faint arcs on his head that some say look like horns. From that angle, his nose looks more like a snout, giving him a ram-headed, almost occult appearance. This look might be what inspired his full, rather unsettling name, the Little Mannie, with his daddy's horns. The Mannie part likely refers to Manchester, England, where he lives today. The story begins in the 1960s. A cleaning lady named Lucy Healy was working underneath the Conservative Club in Hollingworth, England, a building dating back to the 17th century. While vigorously scrubbing the dirt floor of the basement, she unearthed a small lump of stone. It was the figure, originally painted green, but in her enthusiastic cleaning, Lucy washed the paint right off. Still, she decided to keep the strange little statue. Word got around town about the discovery. Soon, a local history professor, Tony Ward, and his friend, Pat Ellison, decided to do an amateur dig at the spot where Little Mannie was found. What they uncovered seemed ritualistic, a circle of candles surrounding chicken and rabbit bones, ivory billiard counters, and even a statue resembling a mother figure. It looked like a foundation sacrifice, an old practice meant to bring good luck to a building. This discovery only added to Little Mannie's local fame. Then, in 1974, the statue caught the eye of A.J.N.W. Pragg from the Manchester Museum. Pragg was putting together an exhibit on Celtic heads, small ancient stone faces often found across Europe, especially the UK. Hollingworth had yielded a few such heads, so Pragg was intrigued, even though Little Mannie looked different. The initial theory was that he might represent the horned Celtic god Cernunnos, the lord of animals. Pragg tried to buy the figure from Lucy Healy, but she refused to sell for many years. Finally, in the mid-1980s, Pragg was able to acquire it. The Healys apparently needed money for a vacation, and perhaps more tellingly, they seemed to have been experiencing a string of minor misfortunes ever since bringing the figure into their house. Once Little Mannie arrived at the Manchester Museum, the strange occurrences didn't stop. They just shifted venues. Staff began to suffer similar minor misfortunes. The employee who photographed Little Mannie for the museum archives dinged his car twice on consecutive nights, despite having a perfect 18-year driving record. A museum director reportedly broke his thumb shortly after scoffing at the piece. An exhibit worker gashed his head open. Accounts of minor illnesses and other small damages swirled around the artifact. Eventually, it became infamous within the museum, and many staff members decided to simply keep their distance. At first, the museum's geologist wouldn't even examine it to determine what kind of stone it was made from. At some point, Pat Ellison, one of the original amateur excavators, visited the museum to see the figure again. Hearing about all the mischief attributed to it, she took Little Mannie in her lap, stroked it, and then pulled a few strands of hair from her own head, wrapping them around the statue. Was she trying to deactivate its powers? Or maybe just make it happy and less prone to causing trouble? One of the two. The strangeness continued. One night, Pragg took Little Mannie home with him, intending to take it to London the next day for analysis by a materials expert. That very evening, someone broke his car window. The next morning, while Prague was on the train to London, his zipper broke in the bathroom, forcing him to safety pin his pants shut. This bizarre incident even made the news. On July 2nd, 1991, the British tabloid The Sun ran a piece with the headline, "There's no flies on Little Mannie. Curse rips boss's zip." The headline font, one imagines, dripped ominously. That same year, during Little Mannie's first public exhibition, the story took a dramatic turn. An expert in African artifacts examined the figure and immediately informed the museum staff that it wasn't Celtic at all. It was, unequivocally, a Nomoli statue from Sierra Leone. Nomoli are ancient figures carved by an unnamed extinct civilization, often found underground or in caves. Today, the Mende people of Sierra Leone use these artifacts to protect their homes and bless their crops, often by burying them. Nomoli are considered good luck charms. Suddenly, Little Mannie wasn't a potentially cursed Celtic artifact, but the exact opposite, a misplaced African good luck charm. When you compare photos of Nomoli figures with Little Mannie, the resemblance is undeniable, especially compared to actual Celtic heads. Little Mannie looks just like a weathered, broken version of these African carvings. And when the stone was finally examined, it was found to be felsite, a rock type plentiful in both England and Western Africa. So how could a good luck charm become associated with so much misfortune? The theory goes that removing a protective object from its home and burying it in a strange land, especially amongst ritualistically placed bones and candles, could corrupt its purpose. As for how a Nomoli figure travelled over 4,000 miles from Sierra Leone to wind up buried beneath an old building in England, well, a few theories exist, but they mostly boil down to trade, one way or another. After all, England has a long history of acquiring artifacts from around the globe. Why exactly it was buried there, with the bones and candles, remains a mystery. Today, you can find Little Mannie, buried again, this time in a drawer at the Discovery Centre of the Manchester Museum. If you look closely, you might even still see Pat Ellison's hair wrapped around him. Whether it pacified him, or if the little good luck charm is still holding a grudge, is up for debate.